30, I was here at 9 a.m.
Tell you what, decrease in three days or 2 o'clock, increase a couple of people. I don't think, I was the last time. I don't. I've been back here.
Well, I said maybe once or twice a year. After that.
We got the kids out of there by like the rec staff by like 12. Somebody's got a lot of buildings.
That would be.
And our first band, kid, well, he didn't have a choice. For all intents and purposes.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and the lead singer had a major corner.
Oh, geez, no, I
Not
thought.
airless.
Just
No.
It sounds like.
So his wife, well, he's in ICU, was checking him, like, you need to find him. That's good. But he's doing well.
Okay, it's 8:30. Okay, this is a public hearing of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency. Pursuant to Article 18A of New York State General Municipal Law, a public hearing will be conducted electronically and in person. And double check here if anybody's in the waiting room. As hereinafter described by the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency on August 15, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. regarding the project as described below. Said public hearing, the public may attend in person or via Zoom video conference. Members of the agency will be in attendance at the Hamburg Town Hall, 6122 South Park Avenue, room 7A, Hamburg, New York 14075. Mission Hills Developer LLC, the project request for agency assistance for the form of a lease only or lease back with mortgage transaction for a total project amount not to exceed $12,193,011. The assistance contemplated by the agency will include mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials and or equipment purchased for incorporation into project and real property tax abatement in accordance with existing agency uniform tax exemption policy and guidelines as amended. Mission Hills Developer has entered into negotiations with officials of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency with respect to a leaseback with mortgage for new construction of 55 two-bedroom senior housing units and a community center on a roughly 16-acre parcel of land located at SBL 170-07-2-1.11 Zero Camp Road, Hamburg, New York, by the lessee as agent for the agency for lease to the agency and lease back by the agency to the lessee. The project will allow the lessee to expand its operations and employment in the town of Hamburg. The agency will present information relative to this project and the application at the public hearing. Persons interested may attend and will be given an opportunity during the public hearing to make statements. Also, written comments may be submitted to the agency at or before the hearing. The agency will provide public access to provide oral comments during the public hearing in Hamburg Town Hall or via Zoom conference. Finally, the agency also encourages all interested parties to submit written comments to the agency, which will be included within the public hearing record until the comment period closes on August 16, 2022. Additional information can be obtained from and written comments may be addressed to Hamburg Industrial Development Agency, Sean Doyle, Executive Director, 6122 South Park Avenue, Hamburg, New York, 14075. Can I please have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Thank you, Tom. Second, thank you, Andy. Okay, the public hearing is now open. I'll speak to the project briefly and then welcome the developer is present here, Mr. David Manko, to further add comments or perspective on the project. So this is at roughly 4543 Camp Road. This is Mission Hills LLC, Mission Hills Developer LLC is the project operator and applicant. They are seeking real property tax abatement, sales tax exemption, and mortgage recording discount on the project. This is phase 4 of a development at Mission Hills. This is a roughly investment of $12,193,011 to build 55 single-story ranch units. These ranch units are approximately 1,390 square feet in the dwelling. The project will create roughly 124 temporary construction jobs. The developer is also committing to retain permanent employment in the amount of 1 full-time employee and 2 part-time employees. The full-time employee will make projected $60,000. The individual part-time jobs will be $25,000 plus benefits. Again, this is a phased development that began in 2010. With this financial assistance, the projected rents will decrease by $324 a month, potentially maintaining more affordable housing for seniors in the town of Hamburg. And also, project assistance will allow the project to happen based upon required financial cover ratios for the bank finance. Mr. Mango, at this time, is there anything that you would like to add?
Well, I brought this morning, just if anybody hasn't seen it. I found this in not the archives, but I brought a map. So, you know, a picture says 1,000 words of somebody.
Hold that down.
So, as you said earlier, this is Camp Road out here. This is 4543 Camp Road. And as we came in the project, the IDA had previously given us assistance on phase 1 of this project and phase 2 of this project, which is all senior housing. The proposed project, where this is phase 4, is where the new area of development would go for the assistance that we're asking for. We're currently underdeveloped right now. We've got this all cleared, and we are now getting ready to pave this subdivision in the back, which is for single-family patio homes. And pretty much all seniors that live there at this point in time. We have developed the first 10 lots to test it, to see how things would go. We sold everything like gangbusters, and then all of a sudden the economy took this huge leap and jump in cost and expense. And I really started thinking to myself, what will the cost of these houses start to be in the future? And we are primarily a developer of senior housing. It's what we've done for 35 years of our lives. We've developed about 1,330 units locally in Western New York, and that's our expertise. So we decided to sell the subdivision, the balance of it, to the Moreno Mark Equity, which is better suited to develop and finish building the patio home. So we could concentrate on building this project right here and move on to other apartment complexes that we're working on for future development. The people that live here, and this is over as Sean said, we started in 2010. It took 2.5 years to get this project approved. We started construction in 2013. The people that move here, we did some study work. 70%, roughly 70% of the people that live in these 2 phases came from the village or town of Hamburg. Our average age of our tenant is about 72 to 73. They owned a home inside the town at one point in time. They wanted to stay inside the Hamburg area. Most of them have a senior exemption for tax and also a veteran exemption for tax. The people that bought their existing homes, obviously, they came off the existing tax rolls. They increased the taxes on the property of the homes that were sold inside the town and village. And then we gave them housing in here at a reduced rate because the IDA assistance allowed us to lower our rents anywhere from $200 to $300 during construction during these time periods. And we're kind of seeing the same exact thing. We're in a little over $300 a month savings with the IDA assistance. And the assistance, we really need this in a sense. The banks have become more stringent because during the meltdown and the, back in 2012, 2013 area, the cover ratios, and what a cover ratio is, the bank requires you can't take 100% of your rent and put it to debt. The bank says you have to have a 126, a 124, a 128, depending on.
My arms like that.
Okay, so basically, what's going on is, when the bank says you have to have a 128 cover ratio, they're saying for every dollar in revenue that you bring in, only, you take 28 minus 100, you got only 72 cents can go to debt. And they monitor this every month. As you have a mortgage, you have to send in your rent rolls and your what it's cost to run. And as soon as you fall over that, they start sending you warning notices, or they just don't finance you. They can terminate your loan. So it's something that's highly regulated. I don't know if it's by the Federal Reserve or the banking industry, but this is where the major assistance comes in through the assistance of the IDA. We currently have 22 of these apartments already spoken for. They wrote a small article, and then we started getting bombarded with people coming over and seeking information. So our goal is to start construction sometime in December, and our first people would move in sometime the end of May, June 1st of this coming year, depending on how hard the winter would be. And then it will take about 18 months from start to finish to complete this project. And then lease up will go relatively as fast as the buildings are built. Pretty much they'll be leased and moved into. Phase 1 and phase 2, and I also do keep data on what's happening in the Hamburg area. We are at this absorption rate in the Hamburg area. There's less than 1% vacancy rate right now in the Hamburg area, which means that for everything below 1%, and using the federal guidelines, if an area has a 9% vacancy rate, that means you can add 1,000 units for every percentage over 9%. So currently, right now in the Western New York area, we could probably absorb another 9,000 units of housing. Because everything that we have right now, we see every week right now in Mission Hills, anywhere between 15 and 20 new applicants looking for an apartment. It's just crazy. Never seen anything like this in our life, a lot lifetime, that we've been in business. And we've actually had people come in now and asking to pay us more money for rent than we're actually asking, so they can move up the line on a waiting list. Homes are now still selling, not at a fast rate, but the people I spoke to last week put their home for sale and was sold within 3 weeks versus 3 days. That's what we were seeing. So now they're all thinking about selling homes, but they got to figure out before they sell their home if they have a place that they're going to physically move to. That's been the issue. A lot of the people that have sold their homes are living at their parents' or their children's home while they wait to find something that's on their application where to get a hold of this at their kid's home. So just pass that information on to them. It's pretty interesting to see.
So what are the rents in the current units?
Okay, at the current place, Mission Hills right now, we're $1,185 a month. And with the inflation rate this year moving forward, if we stick at this 9%, rents will go up $100 at Mission Hills. Last year, we had the largest increase ever, and I think it was around $65 to $68. On the average, over the past 10 years, coming on to 10 years, we've only seen anywhere between 2.5% and 3.5% inflation rate, and that's usually what we raise our rents. So most years it's been 28, 33, 34. Last year was kind of scary that we actually raised the rents, up in that $60 range. We had a lot of tenants come up and shake our hands and say, thank you. We thought they were going to be in the $100 range. And a lot of our competitors over on Southwestern Boulevard, Mapleview, they went up $300. $300, one big jump, you know what I mean? So a lot of them went up $200, $300, $100, $150. We were able to maintain because we are still under the IDA guidelines at Mission Hills. But once we come off of those, tax savings, which we're right at the end right now, we're still going to probably have to, whatever inflation moves at, we're going to have to raise our rents to.
So the 55 new units, the rent will be?
The end units are approximately going to be somewhere around $2,200 a month, and an inside unit would be $2,100 a month.
How many bedrooms, I think?
Those are 2-bedroom units, 2 bathrooms. They all have their own washer and dryer built into them. Now, what I see, it's not happening yet, but I think what's really going to happen is eventually people's savings, rents are gonna outlive people's savings, because we're living longer. I have people that are 102, 101, living on their own at Mission Hill still. I think two people that don't know each other are eventually gonna live together at some point in time. And so we're now gonna move forward. Anything that would go forward is we're gonna have 2 full bathrooms with walk-in showers and 2-bedroom units. Because I think eventually 2 people with 2 separate different incomes will eventually live together moving into the future, maybe 10 years from now, because they're gonna outlive their savings. And it's the only way they can, still live and have some quality of life. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Because this is a new phase of this project,
Yes.
you have to follow the inclusionary housing / fair housing laws of the town of Hamburg, where you have to offer so many units at a reduced rate.
Good question, because I've asked that. What happened was when we came to the program with the town roughly 9-10 years ago, if we would have come in and developed this in individual phases at this point in time, we would have to then follow the inclusionary act, okay? The town asked us though to get the whole project approved at once. So we don't know yet what the answer is, because no one can tell us what the answer is yet. If it is, we have to follow it, we'll follow it. If
Have
we
we
don't,
conferred with Chris Hall?
I have not asked Chris Cowell, if they're in or, if you're in that or.
Yeah.
From that.
we've asked, I have an attorney that works for us that's in contact with somebody at the town right now. So what our understanding is that since the project was approved master plan wise back in 2012, we followed all the same guidelines that we followed that were approved through the Army Corps of Engineers and everything regarding the DEC. So since we were approved 2012 for this project, like all the pond designs have all changed. You've gone to cell versus massive ponds, and we have all these chambers, these environmental chambers, the water goes into this chamber and separates all the water, dirt, mud, cigarette butts and whatever, and then it goes into the pond as clean water. Now, with the new DEC and Army Corps of Engineers, all the ponds that we have built now, we'd have to build a sand filter behind the pond to filter the water before it goes outside the pond. So that is a good question. I can't give you a yes or a no, I don't know.
If I may, Dave, so, but I guess my question to that, the follow on would be regardless with the inducements
Yes,
that you're proposing to get from us as an IDA, regardless of, it has to be included that, what do you call it again?
It's an inclusionary housing.
Housing,
fair
so even if that happens,
we're
you're
prepared
still
for it.
meeting your cover rate.
I mean, my cover rate, yeah, there would be, I think if you have to have 10%, you'd have 5.5 units would be affordable.
I don't know the law.
It's 10%.
10% of the project.
Now, I do know this, that you have projects that are built inside the town, which in the last 5 or 6 years, they don't have any of this yet. So I don't know who enforces it. Now, I am a senior housing developer for low to moderate income units. I'm a certified tax credit developer. I built a project over in Cheektowaga 10 years ago, or 28.5 years ago, called Liberty Park Apartments. On this enforcement, when you do take federal tax credits to build these projects, every year I have a division of HUD send investigators to our project. They grab 10% of our pilot, of our files. They just come in randomly. They ask for these 10 units, and then what they do is investigate the pile to make the pilot, their plans to make sure that these people are meeting the criteria to affordability. All right. I also did one up in Albany, where we used the IDA gave us taxes on bonds. 10% of those units had to be affordable. It's same thing. After we received the affordability and we were up and running, someone from the Division of Housing and Urban Renewal came out every year and did a test sample of those people that were living there.
Yeah, the only 2 places in Hamburg currently that have to follow that law are Fosterbrook and Yorks.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Those are the only 2 because they had the build date, not the actual date of approval. The build date had to be after the law was enacted. So Clifton Heights was being built when the law was enacted, but they were already in construction.
Yeah,
And I, you know, I
I know the Oaks are enforcing it, for sure.
Well, the Oaks and well, I know Chris is getting the reports from Foster Brook and Oaks.
Yeah.
He and I had a discussion of them. 2 months ago, I was looking for.
Well, there was some news that a developer was out of compliance. And I did talk to Tim Regan and just mentioned that we had this project with this developer and asked if there were any issues. And he said no, but I did not specifically ask, are they required?
So at this point in time, they are going out and see if they are in compliance. Interesting. Let me know what you find out. I'm kind of curious myself.
I talked to him 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. What's his name?
Chris Hall at CDBG.
And where's Queensborough?
And then building with Sean.
Okay, yeah,
And building
okay.
opposite side of the
All right.
floor.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, I like to know myself because, I've always been curious, you know, how they're enforcing it, how they're doing it. I know under the federal tax credit laws, you lose all your credits, you lose all your investor money. The penalties are astronomical. If I have one person that's over income qualified, the term stuff, the penalties are huge. They'll put you bankrupt, go bankrupt. You know?
Incomes are pretty high, right?
Right now, the affordable income for our area is $38,640. I think by next year, someone with a $40,000 retirement rate will be considered affordable.
What's the difference in the rate?
So difference in rent. Okay, so it's based on a couple things. First of all, the units that we're currently building or anything that's been built inside the town wouldn't even qualify for affordable housing because they're not built towards the terms of affordable housing. I put an application in last year. I was looking at a different site up in West Seneca. And I was proposing to build a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. But what they want you to build is a unit that's for a 1-person household, because 92% of the people that show up there are 1-person household. And I've been doing this now for 30 years. So what happens is a husband and wife retire. They each got Social Security, they each have some type of retirement. One of the spouses passes away. Automatically, there's a 50% swing in income. Usually, it used to be the female would be left wondering how she's gonna make it. Now the males are doing better. There's more males living than the females are passing away. So now,
So said my wife. All right.
so,
We digress.
so what's interesting is though, all of a sudden now, she says, I don't know if I can afford to pay $1,200 a month rent. And they start looking around, the kids get involved, they start looking for senior housing, affordable senior housing. And there's like 12 different levels of affordable housing. If you have an income of, let's say, $6,500 or less a year, which there's a lot of people out there, you can get a program where the government pays the rent to the apartment and not to the tenant. And 100% of the rent is paid. Now, you're gonna find that through People's Inc. They do a great job at that. Then there's a term called Belmont, they're Belmont Assistance. Belmont is a company that does housing for senior citizens and affordability. And then what they do is distribute the income certificate to the developer or the person that owns the apartment for the person that's moving in. That's how you get Belmont. Right now, Belmont, if you put your name on it, you're anywhere from 7 to 10 years to get it. So if you think you're gonna be somewhere in that neighborhood of needing affordability, I would say as soon as you retire, put your name on the Belmont list, because you never know what's gonna happen. So now this person had to find a place to live. When I started building over in Cheektowaga, the town asked us to build this affordable housing project. They needed it, so we did it. And once the day I put the shovel in the ground, I had 600 applicants for 100 apartments, 104 apartments. It was leased instantaneously. The thing was gone. And it's been very successful the whole time it's there. I've never had a vacancy, or I always have good tenants. And these people desperately needed this type of house. They couldn't afford it. Here was a woman. Her name was Gloria. Gloria lived at Liberty Park for 17 years, and she had 4 children. Husband died at the age of 42. Her whole income was $600 a month. Her rent, though, at Liberty Park, when she first moved in, was only $400 28 years ago. My rent now is $800. So it's only doubled. In 28 years, my rent's at $800. Gloria, once it got over $600, she couldn't afford to pay the rent, but she had 4 good children and their children sent her $100 every month. So she could pay the rent, have cash in her pocket to buy groceries. They did get heating assistance, they do get electrical assistance, they do get meal vouchers, and meal programs are there to help these people in those situations. So my master plan was, when I came to Hamburg, I made 2 applications. My idea was, at Mission Hill, was put affordable on one side and market rate on the other side. So when this person can no longer live on this side, the big thing is they get displaced. All their friends and family that they've now made over the last 7, 8 years are in this core area. Typically, they got to move anywhere from 10 to 15 miles away, and they're away from their friends. You know what I mean? So now, the idea was to put this affordability on one side, the market rate on the other side. So if when they did have to move, they can move over to here and they still have their core friends in the area. But the state of New York didn't see it at that time. When I put my application in for Liberty Park, I scored 100 out of 100, the highest score ever given to a developer for tax credits in the state of New York. And our unit cost back then was $38,000 a unit to build this 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit. Now the developers are getting $430,000 to build this 600 square foot unit. You know what I mean? And we were giving them almost 900 square feet back then. So things have just changed, and it's politically driven, and you got to go to all the fundraisers and get assistance through the governors and the congressmen and to get your credits. It's very difficult. They're politically motivated. So do we need affordable housing? Yes. Do we need more of it? Tons of it moving forward in the future. And then as soon as someone hears affordable housing, they don't want it in their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Nobody wants it. And it's all the people in their area. And I tried doing this in Orchard Park. Oh my God, yeah. That's how I came to Hamburg. I bought the land on Mile Strip. I was putting 100 affordable units and 300 units market rate. And I got railroaded out of town, but thank God I did, because I bought the land in Hamburg. That's a great experience. So, yes.
Thank you.
What you guys do helps the community and everything else out there.
Sean, and I apologize, because I forgot my glasses. So the total amount of tax savings is,
Yeah, let me flip to the application and second.
I had it marked up on my desk the other day.
That where it says property tax without project, and then, difference,
Well, there's specific, there's property tax,
yeah.
there's
Yeah, I want to
mortgage
get
tax,
to
and
my,
there's sales tax.
Right.
There's 3 total taxes that there'll be exemption or partial exemption.
And also decrease in the mortgage according to.
So I know the mortgage tax
That's all you know.
savings,
That's what you're looking for?
no, well, I want to look at my worksheet.
Yeah, okay.
Because I run it, Dave's worksheet is in there, but we had a conversation
Yeah.
regarding special districts, and Dave was counting special districts in his role forma.
Yeah.
So I have this, in your packet, you may have them.
That is the correct one right there.
So, okay, so the total amount of, if this project would be approved, the total amount of financial assistance provided in property tax, are you speaking more so to property tax or overall? Total overall is $1,077,500, $1,077,599.15 based on current tax rates.
So, Sean, right now, what is the town getting in taxes on, I think it's 15 acres, I want to say it's 2,000.
well, there's already exemptions on the property because the first
15
phase.
acres?
No,
It's sectioned out, so each one,
Way I.
for the assessor, is, I want to say it's almost like bifurcated, but it's subdivided, Janet.
Each
So
piece,
certain parcels
let me
pay.
interject real quick. Each piece has its own separate FBL number. So when we built the project, phase one has its own tax ID, 2, 3, and 4. So each one is segregated from each other. So this piece is currently on the tax roll, paying its own correct property taxes. That's how I.
I have it, I have the tax bill here. I just want to add in the school tax as well. So the total tax being paid out of this parcel and currently is $2,113.64. County and special districts. And with the school is $2,140.49. And this is from 2022. So total taxes currently are $4,254.13. And on the first year of the pilot, if a pilot is approved on this project, based upon the assessed value with the improvement, the total payment will be $23,081.52. Is everybody clear on that? Just want to make sure as we're speaking.
And then it increases, right, the way the pilot program works. So if you start, this is based off a 5-year pilot.
No, this is actually compatible with the 7-year,
7 years.
but yes.
On your worksheet, it says 5-year pilot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, this is but this is calculated on 7 years. I'm sorry, Andy.
Okay, so it is 7-year?
Yes.
Okay.
So it starts and then increases, and then the full tax with no exemption based upon current tax rates would be $109,018.55. So that's after the pilot would burn off, assuming taxes did not increase for 7 years.
I can put an inflationary rate of about 30%.
So net, first year net increase is 19,000 for the town.
Yes, roughly.
Right.
Yeah, we're just saying, take into account the special district charges that are not abated at all.
Correct. Also, remember, we are a private property. There's no deeded roads. So the streetlights, the water, the sewer, the plowing, there's no expense to the town. Everything we create there is 100% revenue. I did sit down, put pen to paper one day and calculate when the patio homes are done, the apartments are done, this phase is completed. This property will generate somewhere about $1,700,000 in revenue for the town on an annual basis. No expense to the town.
How many residents are gonna be in there? And what is-
You're gonna have,
Total.
81 patio homes. We're gonna have roughly just 100,000 people. On 100 acres. It's a 100-acre property. And we're leaving, I think, around 42 acres of wood.
And that's looks like from your map, is that still current in the
Yeah.
center of these housing?
Exactly.
developments?
Yes, that's all federal protected wood.
Patio homes that are, it's phase 3 then will be homeowners association.
HOA, yes, that is correct. Yeah. Yeah, they have an HOA there. And the taxes now on the first 10 units are between $5,000 and $6,000 a unit. And now we're calculating they're going to be $7,000 to $8,000 a unit. So if you did a master average, it's about $750,000 in just revenue from the patio homes alone on an annual basis. And then the apartments, I just looked at phase 1 is going to burn off and they'll be paying close to $200,000 a year, a little over $200,000 a year in taxes for the town. Phase 2 will be the same. And then eventually this will probably get to about 140 to 40,000. Yeah.
You know, there is a history with this developer. You know, I do want to mention and clarify that the payments have been made as directed. The employment numbers have been met as directed, met or exceeded. So the previous projects have maintained in compliance, which is always something I think that is important when considering future projects, the success or failure of past projects.
Have there been any written comments? So far?
No written comments yet. We do have until the 16th for written comments. We'll close. I would, make a motion to, table the hearing. We'll close it, Wednesday morning at our board meeting in case any written comments, or if there's any, comments of any kind on this project, between now and then. Okay. So I'll have a motion to table the public hearing for Mission Hills Developer LLC until August 16th. No, I'm sorry, because we won't reconvene until the 17th. Until August 17th, 2022. Thank you, Davis. Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. All right, thanks, everyone. I'm going to terminate the recording and the streaming. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome. Goodbye, everyone.
Take care, Jeff.
Appreciate your time, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. Nice seeing you, Andy.
Bye. See you Wednesday.